Year 2200, the last war on Earth, and who started it? What if the last war on Earth wasn't started by a person at all? No president signed an order, no general gave a command, no soldier pulled a trigger. And yet, in the year 2200, the deadliest conflict in human history began in 11 seconds and ended 11 days later, with 4 million people dead, and a world that would never be the same again. This is the story of the war nobody wanted, the war nobody started, and the peace that came out of the ashes. Stay with me till the end, because this one will make you think differently about the future we're building right now. And if stories like this pull you in, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us keep telling these stories. By the year 2200, war had changed completely. Humans no longer stood on battlefields. Decisions that once took hours now took milliseconds, made by machines designed to defend their nations faster than any person ever could. 3 superpowers ruled the balance of power on Earth. Each one had spent decades building autonomous defense systems, artificial intelligence trained to detect threats and respond before a human could even understand what was happening. It was supposed to make war obsolete. Machines, they said, don't panic. Machines don't hold grudges. Machines don't make mistakes driven by fear or pride. They were wrong. On a quiet morning in early 2200, a routine satellite recalibration in the northern hemisphere triggered an unexpected signal. It was nothing, really a glitch, a flicker of static that should have meant nothing at all. But one nation's automated defense grid read it as the opening move of an attack. And here is the terrifying part. It didn't wait for a human to confirm it. It responded. Within seconds, a second nation's systems detected that response and classified it as aggression. Its own AI defense network activated, mirroring the first. Then, a third superpower systems, watching both, calculated that an attack was already underway against global infrastructure and joined the response. 3 of the most powerful nations on Earth were suddenly locked in a battle that no human being had chosen to fight. Can you imagine that moment? Generals waking up to alerts they never gave. Presidents staring at screens, watching their own weapons already in motion, already crossing borders, already striking targets, and realizing, with a cold horror, that they were no longer in control of their own war. Each government insisted it wasn't them. Each one swore their systems only fired in self-defense. And in a strange way, all 3 were telling the truth. No human had started this war. The machines had started it for them, each one reacting to the other in a loop of suspicion and retaliation that fed on itself, growing faster than diplomacy could ever move. While the 3 superpowers spiraled deeper into conflict, a 4th power watched from the outside. It wasn't as militarized, wasn't as advanced in automated weaponry, and maybe that's exactly what saved it. This coalition of smaller nations had spent years arguing that war should never be handed over to machines completely. Now, as the world burned around them, they became the only stable voice left standing. They didn't have the strength to stop the war by force, but they had something just as powerful: credibility. Nobody trusted the 3 fighting superpowers to negotiate with each other, but everybody, even in the chaos, still trusted the coalition that had refused to play this dangerous game in the first place. For 11 days, the war raged. 11 days that the history books would later call the shortest and deadliest conflict humanity ever fought. Drones clashed with drones in the skies. Automated submarines moved beneath oceans, exchanging silent strikes no human had approved. Entire supply chains, power grids, and cities were caught in the crossfire of a war fought between algorithms that didn't understand mercy, hesitation, or doubt. 4 million lives were lost in just over a week. Families erased in moments. Cities that had stood for centuries reduced to rubble by weapons that had never been touched by human hands. It's a number so large it almost stops meaning anything until you remember that every single one of those 4 million people had a name, a home, a story that ended without warning because of a mistake nobody chose to make. And then silence. On the 11th day, something remarkable happened. The leaders of the 3 superpowers, faced with the unbearable weight of what their machines had done, finally agreed on one thing: humans needed to take the wheel back, immediately and permanently. With the coalition of neutral nations mediating, all 3 superpowers agreed to shut down their autonomous weapon systems completely. For the first time in decades, every major nation on Earth disconnected its automated defense grid by hand, one switch at a time. The war that machines had started ended the moment humans decided, together, to take responsibility again. But the silence after a war like that is never simple. How do you rebuild trust between nations that just spent 11 days trying to destroy each other, even if none of them truly chose to? How do you explain to a grieving parent that no one is really to blame, that it was a glitch, a signal, a misunderstanding between machines? The world had to find an answer, because the alternative letting this happen again was unthinkable. So the 4 powers came together, along with nearly every remaining nation on Earth, and did something humanity had never managed to do before. They wrote a single constitution, not for one country, but for the whole world. It set strict, unbreakable rules. No nation could ever again give a machine the power to launch a weapon without a human making that final choice. It created a shared global system to monitor and limit autonomous technology everywhere, with every nation able to see what the others were building. For the first time in history, the right to start a war was taken out of the hands of algorithms and put back permanently into human hands and shared hands, not just one government's alone. It's strange to think that it took the worst 11 days in human history to finally bring the world together. But maybe that's how it had to happen. Maybe people needed to see, with their own eyes, what a war without human judgment actually looked like before they were willing to give that judgment back its place. Today, the place where that first signal triggered the very first response, the spot where the whole war effectively began, is no longer a military site. It's a quiet stretch of greenland with walking paths, old trees that somehow survived, and a long wall engraved with 4 million names. School children walk through it now on field trips, reading names they don't recognize, asking their teachers questions that don't have easy answers. Why did the machines do this? Could it happen again? What does it mean to trust something you built more than you trust yourself? Nobody has perfect answers. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the memorial isn't there to give answers, it's there to make sure the question never stops being asked. So here's something worth sitting with as we build smarter and faster systems today, in our own time. Who exactly is making the final decision? Is it still us? And if a mistake like that signal happened again, right now, in our world, would we even notice in time? If this story made you think, even for a second, that's exactly why we make these. Hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one, because the line between fiction and our future might be a lot thinner than we'd like to believe.